All right, let's jump right in. You know that feeling, right? You're deep into a coding session with your AI assistant, things are flowing, and then boom. It has no idea what you were talking about just 5 minutes ago. It's so frustrating. Well, today we're going to look at a tool that's built to fix exactly that, to give your AI a perfect long-term memory.
I mean, seriously, does your AI coding partner have amnesia? Because that's what it feels like sometimes. You pour all this time into getting it up to speed, explaining the project, the files, your goals, and then the next session starts and poof, it's all gone. It's a massive, massive productivity killer.
Yeah, it really is like Groundhog Day, but for coding. You start every single session completely from scratch. And that's the real problem, right? You have to re-explain everything over and over. What should feel like a smooth collaboration just becomes this tedious chore. You end up being the memory for the project, which kind of defeats the whole point of having an AI partner to begin with. And this slide just lays it out so clearly. It's the AI memory gap. On one side, you've got your standard AI session, the one we're all unfortunately very familiar with. Context is temporary, knowledge is gone after the session, and it resets every single time. Ugh. But on the other side, that's where we want to be. A session where the context sticks around, where knowledge builds on itself, and the AI can actually remember what you did last week. That's the dream. So what's the solution? Well, it's a tool called Claude Mem. Think of it as a plugin for Claude Code. Its job is actually pretty straightforward but incredibly powerful. It just sits in the background, watches everything Claude does, and then uses AI to compress all that activity into key insights. And then, this is the magic part, it injects that relevant context right back into your future sessions. It's an automatic memory maker. Okay, so how does this magic actually work under the hood? It's not just waving a wand. There's a really smart 5-step process, a memory lifecycle, if you will, that's always running automatically. Let's walk through it. Step 1, you start a session. Right away, Claude Mem injects what it remembers from your last session. Step 2, it listens to your new prompts. Step 3, and this is super important, it records everything Claude does, reading files, writing code, you name it. Then, for step 4, a worker process kicks in and uses AI to figure out what was important, to pull out the key learnings from all that raw action. And finally, step 5, when you're done, it wraps it all up into a nice little summary, ready and waiting for your next session. It's this beautiful, continuous loop of learning that you don't even have to think about. Now, just having all this history saved is cool, but what's really a game changer is being able to search it. This is where Claude Mem basically gives you a superpower. You can query your entire project history just by asking questions in plain English. I mean, look at this. You can literally just ask, what bugs did we fix last session? Think about that. No more digging through commit histories or trying to remember what you did on Tuesday. You just ask, and the AI searches its own memory to give you the answer. This is a totally different way of working. And this search is so flexible. You're not just limited to simple keywords. You can search for big ideas, like authentication. You can search by a specific file name. You can filter by the type of work. Was it a bug fix or a new feature? You can even ask it to give you a whole timeline of what's happened. The possibilities are huge. But here's the kicker, and it's a big one for anyone who codes with AI. It's incredibly efficient. This isn't just about saving you a headache. It's about saving tokens. By using this intelligent mem search skill instead of just stuffing old conversations into the context, you save around 2,250 tokens every single time you start a session. That's a real, tangible saving that adds up fast. Okay, so a searchable memory. Already amazing, but it gets even better. The folks behind this are already looking at the next major hurdle for AI, that dreaded context window limit. And their solution is an experimental feature with a fantastic name, endless mode. So here's the problem they're trying to solve. In a normal session, every time you talk to the AI, it has to reread the entire conversation history. The longer the conversation gets, the harder the AI has to work. And it's not a gentle curve. It's what they call quadratic, or O of n squared complexity. It gets exponentially harder, fast. And that's why, eventually, the session just hits a wall, usually after about 50 tool uses. Well, endless mode just blows that limit out of the water. Look at this chart. A standard session taps out at around 50 tool uses. Endless mode? It's aiming for over 1,000. That is a 20 times increase. Think about how much more you could get done in a single unbroken session with that kind of runway. So how on earth does it do that? It's really clever. It uses a 2-part memory system, kind of like our own brains.
For its active working memory, it keeps these tiny, super compressed summaries, only about 500 tokens. But it also has an archive memory on disk, where it saves the full, original, perfect version of everything. That way, if it ever needs to double-check the exact details, it can just pull it from the archive.
And what this means technically is a total game changer. Instead of that nasty exponential O of n squared scaling, you get a nice, simple, linear O of n scaling. In plain English, the session doesn't get exponentially harder as it gets longer. And that's the key. That's what unlocks these incredibly long, complex, and super productive coding sessions where you don't have to worry about hitting that wall. So when you put all this together, what does it really mean? This isn't just about making things a little bit easier or more convenient. No, this is about a massive shift in how we're going to work with AI.
Look, at the end of the day, memory is everything, right? It's the foundation of any real partnership. By giving our AI a persistent, searchable memory, we're transforming it. It stops being this forgetful, single-session tool, and it starts becoming a true long-term collaborator, an actual partner that understands the entire history of what you're building together.
And that really leaves us with a huge question to chew on. Once our tools remember everything, everything, how does that change the way we create? When your AI partner has a perfect memory of every idea, every mistake, and every success, what does that do to the creative process itself? It's pretty wild to think about.